What's up, Hank? Man, I'm trying to see if this thing is even recording. Yeah. Did something different to where I couldn't see myself. Flip my phone backwards, and I think I'm using the better camera, anyways. Story of origination. You know what? I'm 36 years old right now. I got 3 kids, and I just recently sold a business I started 9 years ago. I've got 2 years. As you asked me, what's my runway? I got 2 years and a bit of money to not a bunch, but enough money to invest in my project or my next business venture. Been doing a lot of self-help stuff and a lot of self-development stuff because I realized my childhood was a little bit not normal. Maybe wasn't molested, I wasn't like abused, but it just seemed like my parents were continually overcoming adversities, like some bad stuff, not like a little bit. I don't know. One of my first memories, I don't know how I even remember this, but I was probably like, my mom says I was like, that happened when I was like 3 years old. We were in like an accident on Gloria Switch up the road from my house, and I remember the helicopter landing in the field. I think it was I was 3, my brother was 2, and my cousin Brooks, he was a little bit younger. I don't think anyone got hurt, but like, how the hell? They had to get us checked out, you know. Um, yeah, so it might not seem crazy, but my mom, she didn't have insurance at the time. I guess she was one of those, Louisiana backwards people. They get a car with no insurance. It doesn't make any sense. And now that I have like 3 kids of my own, like, and the reason I'm doing some of this self-help is because I'm trying to figure out, like what's a good way to raise kids. I'm not saying that my kids were like screwed up, but I mean that my parents were screwed up, but it's like I don't think they really asked that question. Yeah, so I started reading this book, Law of Attraction, and I believe in a bit of it. So it's really hard for me to like look back at my parents' life and wondering like what the hell were they thinking, or what were they like, what were they attracting like that? So yeah, just a head-on collision. Nah, it doesn't seem too crazy, but when I was 4 years old, I think we had already moved like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, place got robbed that I lived in. My whole family was there, and the guy put a knife on my mom. My dad was sleeping in a different room because he worked nights. He worked nights at the time, and my mom was watching me and my brother. It was a new place. Anyways, yeah, my mom gets scared, like really scared. We'd only been in the house like 3 months, and I'm pretty sure she was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. So we grabbed some bags and we left. My dad would go back and forth over there to check the mail. One day he went back there and everything was gone. When we packed those bags and left, we left in a hurry. And so we didn't have that many pairs of shoes, wedding albums, pictures, couches, like those plug-in phones, those old phones. Like the neighbors, I think they thought we were moving, like pots and pans, like everything. Everything was just not there anymore. So yeah, so that happened. We're in this little rent house. Because we definitely weren't going back to that house then. They already, yeah. It wasn't in the best neighborhood, don't get me wrong. But still. It was in town. It was a place we couldn't afford. Because it was an old family house. That old freaking house. It was old. It wasn't too far from the tracks. It was like the lot next to the tracks. So when you walk from the kitchen to the living room, I remember your feet being black. Yeah, no matter how much you swept, it was all in the attic. In the bathroom, there was a hole in the attic. And, yeah, I guess, I'm not sure how the rats would get up there, but the rats would get up there. Sometimes, I remember once or twice, like, sitting on the toilet, and I would always just stare at that hole, like, looking up. And, that freaking rat jumped right out of that thing. Right out of that hole. That clawfoot tub, you jump in there, start yelling for your mom. And, oh man, we had a broom. It's ridiculous when you think about it. It's like, that's the house that we were living in. But anyways, getting back to the rent house. The rent house was funny too. I remember they had squirrels that lived in my mom's underwear drawer. We're like way in the country, and I guess there was holes in the house. But the adversity is that my mom and dad attracted. I guess if I believe in the law of attraction in this life, I mean in my life, I gotta believe it in their life too. And somehow my dad got hit by a car. Like, we was only in this new house for like a month or two. He got clipped by a car on the interstate. He didn't die, but man, he broke his right leg in 7 places, his left leg in 6, collarbones, ankles, like ribs. He was, they weren't sure if he was gonna make it, and they definitely weren't sure if he was gonna have his leg still. Well, he had them, but they was like, kind of in pieces. Took a lot, I think he had 23 surgeries on his legs. So a lot of hospital time. And look, my parents were good about not having any insurance. So my dad was in New Orleans Charity Hospital, which is where I think anyone would have sent him anyways. Because, yeah, I mean, they had the best surgeons over there because they saw the most stuff. I mean, New Orleans is like it's like New Orleans or Rush Hospital in Chicago. I'm sure they got one in LA and New York, but it's like where you got stab victims, gunshot wounds. I mean, the best doctors go there and train. And they were trying some new stuff with some bone stretching. Took some muscles out of his back and put it on all kind of crazy shit to try to keep some leg that he had an ankle singe and he had like 3-inch. It was 3 inches shorter because it healed like this instead of like this. So he always had problems with them legs for like the rest of his life. But he had them, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal for him, I guess. I think they might have been more trouble than they were worth, really, to be honest. He didn't end up cutting his right leg, the one that had the ankle singe and no calf muscle. He cut it right below the knee, like maybe 3 years. Yeah, about 3 or 4 years before he died. But yeah, so my dad's dead. He died when I was like 25. He was 50 years old. But that's another. I mean, I guess it's the same story, but I just didn't get to that age in my life. I'm still on like 5 or 6 years old right now. Yeah, so my dad hit by a car. My mom, who was a stay-at-home mom, giving nothing but love to me and my brother. Smoke. Yep. All of a sudden, she has to go to work. But after, you know, she got to take care of my dad for a little bit because he's in the hospital. Maybe gonna die, maybe not gonna die. I don't know. So she's going through that. And guess what? Me and my brother were living with my grandma and grandpa. My grandpa, super successful in my mind. He had 8 kids. My mom was the oldest daughter, and he ran a house moving company. And yeah, he took care of his whole family. Shit, he was taking care of my mom and dad, and my dad didn't even work for him. Taking care of his grandkids. Oh man, that guy was awesome. Or is awesome. He passed away as well. But yeah, he died at 62 when I was like a senior in high school.